Mark, before we look ahead to the weekend, I mean, how proud were you with the comeback out and how?
Yeah, I'm really proud. It was a little bit of a comeback in the end because obviously they pulled out that little margin. But up until that sort of period where the scrums took over for a little spell in the game, it was actually a very evenly balanced game, and I probably felt like we were unlucky not to be in front. So yeah, it was a comeback of sorts, but I actually felt the game was very, very close. We were disappointed not to be ahead actually going into that last 20 minutes.
Well, we all had our eyes on Perpignan Zebra on Sunday, and it's a home tie against the Scarlets, and you must be sick of the sight of them by now.
Oh, look, I think it's a great tie for the competition, and because you want big rivalries, you want teams that have got genuine, competition, genuinely love going up against each other, competing hard, and so I think it's a great tie for the competition. We're stoked about it. We're excited about the opportunity to play our rivals. Probably the disappointing thing is we play them the week before, which will have its own challenge, won't it? And there's a lot of derbies in and around it. So actually, you can look at it two ways. You can say, oh, look, it's a Welsh rugby off. Or you can say, well, awesome derbies, opportunity to watch the boys go at each other.
We're not sure when it's going to be yet, but if it's Saturday, I think Swansea are going to be down at the .com Stadium. So potentially the Brewery Field. And would you be happy with that? Yeah,
we're happy to play anywhere. We're just really excited to be there, in any venue that we go to, which have to have the opportunity. So I know that Di will be sorting it out, the logistical extraordinaire will be sorting it out as we speak around location, venue, how it's going to work. So once he tells me what we're doing, we'll let everybody know accordingly.
Looking more generally then, you're unbeaten since you took over as the head coach. I mean, you must be delighted with the start and what specifically has changed.
Yeah, well, look, we are unbeaten. It's not about me being unbeaten. It's the group that's unbeaten, and it's the group is the reason why. They're a great bunch of lads. We've got a never say die mentality, and we have got a lot of quality to support the attitude, because the attitude's one thing, but the capability is another. And I think the boys are showing great capability to go with their attitude, which all credit to them for that.
So Europe is parked now until April. Time to look at the URC again. I mean, starting with Benetton on Friday, that's going to be a tough challenge for you guys.
Oh yeah, huge challenge. Always a very competitive team. Always in and around the top 8. Always knock off big results in both competitions, URC and Europe. And last weekend's game against La Rochelle has proven that they're one of the best sides in the competition. So really dangerous team. All I can say is we've prepared for the best possible Benetton team we can. We're definitely not underestimating them. We understand they're over here already, flown in, settled in, they're training here. So, they're doing the same with us in terms of taking us seriously, because both teams probably know it's a big fixture.
I mean, looking at your team then, are there any injury concerns? Any players back in contention for Friday?
Yeah, Steph Thomas is struggling a little bit after the game. He obviously went off around half-time with a nasty ankle injury. He did it in the first 4 minutes, I think it was, and toughed it out until half-time. Incredible, really. That one moment kind of summed up our whole performance for the day, really. He just never say die, and he was prepared to come back on if we needed him later on. So he's still being assessed at the moment. He's had a scan today just to check everything's nothing too sinister there, but waiting to hear on him. There's nobody major coming back in. Deavesy will be around selection. I think he's had the all clear after his concussion, so that's positive. There's a few boys. Justin Tipprick's back on the grass today running around, so we're hoping he could potentially turn around. But yeah, nothing major. There's no sort of no big concerns, and there's no sort of massive influx of players coming back.
Okay, great. I wish you luck.
Thank you. Mark. Thanks. Nice to speak to you.
Sorry, Steph. I thought you were jumping in. He's gone. Mark, can you hear me okay?
I can, Graham. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. You mentioned that the Benetton have turned up already. That's quite unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we think they have. The sort of intel is that they're either checking in, or they've checked in this afternoon, or they check in this evening. So, yeah, it would be unusual to come as early as they have, probably. The only time you generally do this is if you're going to South Africa, maybe, that long haul.
Yeah.
But I suppose the rationale would be get the flight out of your legs, get your recovery into you, and then you've got a nice run into the game, isn't it? You haven't got a disrupted run into the game, no travel, in 36 hours of the game. So they've obviously looked at it and decided to do it that way. It's quite a smart way. If you can afford to do it, then great, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. How much, you're talking about the success of last weekend, how much can you take in terms of momentum, in terms of confidence from that game into the URC, or is there not much transfer between different tournaments as far as you're concerned?
I think there should be some transfer in the confidence, Graham. I think whenever a team is winning or not losing, it obviously breeds some confidence. That cloak of invincibility just gets a little bit stronger, doesn't it? But I think we were pretty good this morning around, celebrating the things we did well, picking up on the tidy ups. There's things in the game that we know we can be better at. And what we did was a really good job of parking that. And then since lunchtime, we had a second meeting. We've gone and looked forward at Benetton now, and we're fully focused on that. So, we've sort of gone back to ground zero, got the euphoria and the excitement out of our systems, and now we're back to work.
And in terms of your Wales squad, guys, are they all off limits to you now?
Yeah, they won't be available to us now until, somebody at the union sort of lets us know if they want them to come back for any game time or anything like that. So we're prepared now for this game and the two games during the Six Nations block with the squad that we've got. So and obviously the injured players coming back.
Yeah. Do you think you will get any players back from the Wales squad?
Well, I hope not, because obviously if they're not coming back, it hopefully means they're playing regularly and they're representing the Welsh shirt. But of course, if there's guys in there that are not playing and they feel like they can get game time, we'd love to have them back. Only going to help our depth and help our preparation. So we're prepared both ways. We want to support those boys in the international block, and fingers crossed they get loads of game time.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned that Justin Tipuric might be fit for this weekend?
Yeah, he could be. We left him behind on purpose, along with a couple of other players, with this fixture in mind. We knew it was going to be tough to go to France on a tough travel out and a tough travel back with a really big fixture, physical fixture in the middle. So there was definitely some forward planning around that. So we're hoping that he will see the rest of the week out and potentially he can be involved in the match day 23.
Yeah, he's obviously coming towards the end now, the last few months. What kind of mindset is he in, do you think, over the last... Does he want to go out with a bang?
Oh, yeah. Well, you only got to look at his performances to see what sort of mindset he's in. He's probably one of the best players in the competition at whatever age he is, because I can never get it out of him, how old he actually is. He's... I've always admired him from afar as a coach that's coached against him and watched him play. But obviously to have the privilege to work with him, watch how he operates, his humility is incredible, considering how good he is and how good he has been. And he has a massive influence around the group, which is obviously, one of the many reasons why we want him to come into the coaching team moving forward. We feel he's got those same skills to transfer to the coaching world. And it'll take him time, of course it will. It'll take him years to build his coaching CV up. But we're convinced that he's got the materials to be as good a coach as he wants to be, as the similar as he has been as a player.
That's quite an interesting word you use, humility. Well, can you give me a little bit of insight, a bit of an example of what you mean exactly?
Well, he just wants to keep getting better. So if you think what he's achieved in the game, the trophies that he's won, the kudos that he's got, where he sits with his peers in terms of how they rate him, he is still asking to be coached. He still wants feedback, positive and negative. He still thinks he can get better, which I think tells you you're a humble person. Likewise, so that's from a personal perspective, but then he's always willing to help the young players who are after his shirt. So the little bits of detail he gives, the Harry Deeves, the Tristan Davises, the Morgan Morses, the intellect that he's showing them, the shortcuts that he's teaching them before they work them out themselves. He's willing to share as well. I think the one thing I'd say about Tips is he'll help anybody as much as he can, but he won't give his shirt to them. They'll have to take the shirt. I think that's quite a powerful thing where you're prepared to help, tell everybody what they need to know, but they still got to outwork him.
Yep, yep. And just lastly, Mark, you mentioned Morgan Morse there. He had an impressive game last weekend. People are talking about him as they were possibly this time last season as a big international potential ahead of him. Are you surprised that he wasn't in and around the squad, or is he still a bit young for that?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say I was surprised because he's been injured in the opening part of the season. So he had a nasty hamstring at the beginning of the year, which as a young player, we want to make sure that there's no there's no hangover from that. We want to make sure that we get him back right, nothing that's going to be re-injured, etc. And so that we were pretty. And we know that his game has got edges that we want to, polish a little bit around different areas. So when he was injured, there was an opportunity to spend a bit of time with him there around his game, improving little bits and pieces so that he can do the things that perhaps are not quite so visible. Everybody sees the 4 defenders that he steps or fettens off or outruns. But it's the little bit of work around the contact area, around his defence, or, his technical work around the set piece. There's been an opportunity to fill some of that stuff in and improve him there because he's literally just turned 20, I think, while we were away in Po. So I'm not surprised because he hasn't played a lot of rugby really leading into this Six Nations, but he'll have his time. That time will come. He will be an international player. He will be a top quality international player if injury is kind to him and selection also is kind to him. We just want to make sure as Ospreys that he's ready to not just play international rugby, but thrive in it. And that's our job, to make sure he thrives at international rugby, not just plays there.
Right. He's had 2 seasons with the under-20s. What would benefit him more now? A 3rd season at that level or a few weeks staying with you?
Oof, that's a good question. It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because the level of competition, if you look at where he'll be playing for us now in this next block, it's going to be Benetton, it's going to be Leinster, and it's going to be Glasgow. So if he's involved in the match day 23, he's against arguably one of the best teams in the world, club teams in the world. He's got the current URC champions and Benetton this week that have just beaten La Rochelle, which are 2 times European champions. So if he's on the field against those guys, I'm pretty confident he's getting better. So we're probably thinking at the moment, whilst he's in and around our match day squad, he's better served with us because of the level of opposition. But if we feel like he's not getting selected or we think that getting in some game time would be useful, then we're more than happy to have a discussion with Morgan and see if he's happy to go and play, age grade rugby.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mark. Good luck Friday.
Thanks, Graham. Cheers, mate.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate.
Yeah, I don't know what happened just now. I was talking and nobody could hear me. Probably for the better.
I was going to say it's not all negative then.
No. When I spoke to you a couple of weeks back, you were quite, you were hoping that Dan Edwards would make the squad. He has made the squad. How well do you think he's going to go at international level?
Well, if I knew that, I'd be buying a lottery ticket, that's for sure. Look, you can only base it on what he's done in an Osprey shirt, how he behaves off the field, and how competitive somebody is. I think when you try to think around those factors, he's got the chance to go pretty well. He's a good player. He's got a lot to learn, and he knows that, and he wants to learn it. And he's incredibly competitive. He's not a big guy, but he's pretty keen to get stuck in both sides of the ball. So I think he'd go well if given the opportunity, but obviously he's going to have to earn his stripes. He's going to have to train hard. He's going to have to impress the coaches up there. And when he gets an opportunity, he's going to have to take it, because that is I suppose, sometimes it's getting picked the easy bit. It's the delivering on the expectation and delivering on the pressure, if you like, on your regional performances to do that at international level. And it is a step up, But I'm pretty confident if the team around him functions well and they play the right game for him, he can excel in the right game plan for sure.
Yeah, playing 10 for Wales probably brings a lot of unfair pressure as well. You played with Stephen Jones for years. He was a great player, but he was always on the receiving end of criticism. I suppose my question is, do you think Dan has got this sort of mentality to cope with that sort of pressure? And I suppose the message would be to the Welsh public that they do have to be patient with him, because he's only 21 at the end of the day.
Yeah, in a one-word answer, yes, he's definitely got the mentality. He's got a brilliant mentality. He again is very humble, but He's also very, very stubborn around like his mindset. He knows what he wants, and he will back what he thinks is right. And if he gets criticism, he will just stick to his process. And if he's doing the work, he'll trust himself, which I think is so important. You've got to know your own path as a player, because you will get people giving you advice, from coaching staff to press to fellow players, but he'll know what's right for the team. So I'm confident in that. That's one of the reasons why he's played so well for us, because he leads other people, and he leads himself. So I've no doubt around that. But look, I don't think I can remember an outside half has played for Wales since I remember watching Wales. It hasn't been criticised at some point, and sometimes really harshly, because of the team's performance, their own performance, whatever. So it's come in, and he knows it, and he'll deal with it in his own way.
Yeah, and just finally, can you give us an insight into what Dan's like, around the environment? Is he vocal? Looking from afar, it looks like he's not shy at backing orders to forwards and stuff. What's he like, behind the scenes? Yeah,
he's a very honest, clear communicator. He works out, what the plan is with the coaches. And once he's clear, he drives that, very clearly to his teammates of what the expectation is. And he speaks to people in the right way. He encourages people. He tells people straight if they are, not where they need to be, or the expectation of the effort isn't right, or they're not into position quick enough. But he doesn't berate people. He doesn't... but he doesn't mince his words either. He's just clear. He's just a good communicator, really clear. And I think that must, as somebody who will be playing with a player like that, that's all you can ask for.